The Passenger, a Blance family folk tale. It was during the dark days of the Second World War in the northeast of England when my grandfather, Jimmy Blance, and his uncle Murray were given a sombre task, one that few others were willing to take on. They were to retrieve the unmarked coffins of soldiers killed in action and transport them back to South Shields, where families waited for closure with trembling hands and broken hearts. On one particular bitter night, the air thick with freezing fog, they were told to collect the body of a young man named Albert Winter. Though the name was whispered to them by a weary clerk, it was not written anywhere on the plain wooden coffin, just another anonymous casualty of war. They carefully loaded the coffin into the back of their car, the wood damp from the cold mist that hung over the countryside like a death shroud. Then they set off, the headlights carving tunnels through the fog, the road stretching ahead like a thread into the unknown. They had barely gone 10 miles when a shape emerged from the gloom at the side of the road. A hitchhiker. A young man in a soldier's uniform stood with one arm raised, thumb pointed upward, smoking a cigarette. Murray slowed the car. They rarely saw anyone on these routes, and despite the eerie air that hung over everything that night, they couldn't in good conscience leave a soldier stranded by the side of the road. The man climbed into the back seat, right next to the coffin. As the car rumbled on through the fog, they exchanged small talk, the kind that distracts from the unsettling silence of death riding in the back seat. The stranger, lighting another cigarette, said he'd just returned from service, looking for a way home. "What's your name, lad?" Jimmy asked over his shoulder. "Albert," the young man replied, his voice soft but clear. Jimmy's eyes met Murray's in the rearview mirror. They paused and looked at each other, slightly trembling. "Albert what?" Murray asked cautiously. The young soldier leant forward, lit another cigarette, and with his face aglow, said faintly, "Albert Winter." A chill grasped the air and crept up their spines, and then the car swerved suddenly. Murray then stopped it abruptly. Both men turned around in their seats, staring at the young man, now barely visible in the shadows. Are you the ghost of Albert Winter?" Jimmy asked. The young man looked confused. "Ghost? No. What are you talking about?" They began to explain, their voices shaking all the while, that the soldier they had picked up just an hour ago went by the name of Albert Winter. The hitchhiker stared at the coffin beside him in silence, and then, with an odd calmness, he said, "Oh, I knew him. He was my uncle. What a strange coincidence, eh?" He smiled again, but neither Jimmy nor Murray returned it. The fog began to thicken, and the night seemed to grow colder thereafter. They drove the rest of the way in silence, the strange soldier sitting peacefully beside the dead man, before he lay down and went to sleep. The next morning, when they arrived in South Shields and opened the back to retrieve the coffin, they expected to see the hitchhiker asleep in the back. But the hitchhiker? Gone. No footprints in the frost. No trace of anyone ever sitting beside the dead. Only the faint smell of tobacco and a pack of cigarettes remained. Coincidence? Did he slip away when their backs were turned? Or did Albert Winter take one final ride with himself?